Do you struggle to finish your stories? You're absolutely not alone with this. I've worked with over 100 writers. A lot of us can come to the table with an idea. We're able to sit down and write a scene, a passage, maybe an entire chapter, but you don't have a single finished manuscript. And let's be honest, as writers, we're sitting down to create something. We want to finish something because we want to share it with the world. The inner critic is always working against us. Whenever we experience self-doubt, whenever we find ourselves in a spot where we don't know the way forward, it comes in to tell us that, oh, it's because you're not good enough. It's because you don't have enough technique, you don't have the understanding, you're just not meant to be a writer. And so when writers are trying to finish works and they can't, this wave of resistance comes against them. And that wave drowns their stories. But I'm here to tell you that's perfectly normal. If you're somebody who's able to get into stories quickly, that means you already have access to your creativity. You know how to write. The problem is you don't know what to do when you don't know what to write. And the fact that you don't know what to write is not a sign that you're not a writer. The fact that you don't know what to write is simply a sign that you've ran into uncertainty. And so that's the relationship that we want to address in this video. I'm Trevor Martins and I help you write things because that's what writers do. Does uncertainty prevent writers from finishing their works? Absolutely. Uncertainty is that wall that, especially for creatives who find their characters and their stories quickly, when that wall comes up, for some of them, it can be a sign or like a signal that they believe means they don't know what to write, therefore they don't know what they're doing, therefore they're not a writer. But uncertainty is a very natural part of the creative process. All writers face it. Now, if you're a writer who also has an inner critic who plays on their perfectionism, yeah, uncertainty is a bit of a hornet's nest, because if we don't know what to write, then we don't know if it's going to be any good. And if we don't know if it's going to be any good, then we don't know if anyone's going to like it. And for some of us, if we have that desire for positive feedback or that need to not make a mistake, uncertainty is terrifying. Because in uncertainty, you don't know what you're up against. You don't know what to do. How can you possibly make sure that you do a great job of it? And the result of that inner critic chirping in our ear, is that we shut down. And when we shut down, sometimes we might just not write at all. But for other writers, that's when, hey, you know what? There's this other story I want to write anyway. That's where we start getting lured out into tackling just another new project because it's new and exciting and it's not getting tough yet. We're not having to weave things together. We're not having to finalize the product. It's free and open. You're back in the sandbox. And so for a lot of writers, that sandbox is just, it's a very alluring alternative. And you're still writing. So it's a very sneaky move. You're still writing and you're still creating, but you're not finishing the story that you're to put out there. And that's where so many writers get stuck in this process. Think about how we deal with uncertainty in our everyday lives. We hate it. We hate it specifically around things that matter to us. If my wife seems upset and I don't know why, I don't like that uncertainty. If I've got a conflict with a coworker and it's not resolved by the end of the day and I have to go home and sleep on that uncertainty is going to drive me nuts because that relationship matters. The relationship with my wife matters. If I think there's a chance that there's layoffs coming to my work and I don't know if I'm going to lose my job, that matters because my job matters. The fact that the uncertainty around your storytelling process matters to you is a huge sign that you are in fact a writer. Because it matters. Uncertainty only bothers us around things that are important to us. So the fact that you're getting stuck midway through your stories in that uncertainty is just a sign that that story is so important to you. Our reframe here is to stop taking the easy way out, the quick candy, and running to a new story. Instead, we want to stick with this one. So why is uncertainty part of the creative process? Well, the answer is pretty simple. You're creating something new. Whether you're a personal or a fictional storyteller, you don't know beforehand how every single scene is going to be laid out. When it comes to our personal stories, think of all the things you could write in a memoir. All the details, all the moments, all the things you've heard, smelt, felt, tasted, done. It's near infinite. And so even when it comes to personal writing, the creative act is at work because we're choosing or feeling or sensing the parts of our story that are most important. Uncertainty has to exist in the creative act. If you're creating something that has never existed before, how can we know what we're creating? And so for creatives that have done this for a long time, they understand that the ideas don't flow right away, and that's okay. If the ideas have flown for you naturally for a long time, but then you suddenly get stuck, that getting stuck can feel like a signal that we're not supposed to be doing something or that we're doing something wrong, when in fact it just means you've unlocked something new. And it just so happens that for you at that point, you need a little time to really download that creative intuition, to really get that story to come through. What's great about uncertainty is that it makes writing a complete adventure, because we don't know what gets to come next. We get to be part of that process, but if I'm talking to any writers out there, you know that when we get in that creative flow, our characters are almost speaking to us. The lines are just flowing. We almost can't type or write fast enough to keep up with it. We are not completely in control of the creative process. We're just part of it. The benefit of being part of that process is we get to explore new things the whole way through. Every new scene that we hit, when we hit that uncertainty, well, there's something behind that wall that could excite us, could intrigue us, could teach us something new. It is what makes writing a very adventurous and present activity. You've got to be there in the moment. You've got to sit in the pocket, and you've got to just be open and listening, wondering, being curious to see what's going to come next. And then when it comes, greet it, honor it, write it, and see where your story goes from there. That's why writing is an individual act to begin, because you're sitting there with your own intuition, your own feelings, your own desires, and you are channeling your creativity, and that blending, that co-creation is occurring to create something brand new in the world. If you knew exactly where the story was going, it wouldn't be something new. So by its nature, creating something new has to involve uncertainty, and that's where the adventure lies. Is uncertainty going to be present throughout the entire writing process? Well, this is different for everybody, but in a nutshell, yes. When it comes to generating new ideas, some of us hit our biggest uncertainty blocks around what we actually want to write, what we want to create. Others hit it in the middle when we're trying to kind of weave things together and make the story succinct. And others will hit it at the end when we're trying to decide, like, what is the best way for this story to end? How do I bring everything together so that the story as a whole is complete? And so when you're going through your creative process, 1, expect uncertainty. 2, expect that inner critic. But then write anyway. Because if we don't, if we take our eye off the fact that that inner critic's coming for us, or what that negative self-talk looks like, we're actually going to help our inner critic shut us down. And that's because the inner critic, if you listen to what it has to say, it's never encouraging you to go forward. It's never encouraging you to try and make something new and to stick with a project. It's always like, oh, it's got to be a little more perfect first, or like nobody's going to like this, or we got to revise it, we got to get some feedback, we got to get permission from someone to do this. It's doing everything it can to make us stop. And then the self-talk our own self-talk can start to feed into this. We might say something like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how my story ends. Why don't I know what's next? Why can't I figure out how my story is supposed to end? Look at those statements and questions. Everything that we think and say is going to come back to us. Like, is it our brain, our subconscious, the muse, God? It doesn't really matter what the story is. But if I ask why I can't finish my story, I'm going to get reasons that I can't finish that story. If I tell myself I just can't do this, that's the belief that I'm piling on myself. How am I going to get all those boulders off and actually create and write something original after that? It's next to impossible. So if we don't want the inner critic asking those questions, or maybe more accurately, we don't want to be like mirroring or repeating the thoughts that our inner critic is giving us, what are the questions and statements we want to be making? Well, that's pretty simple. What are the answers that you want? If it's a question, and I think questions work really well, instead of asking, why can't I figure out how this scene ends? Why can't I figure out how my book ends? Maybe we wonder, I wonder how this scene ends. I wonder what my character is going to do next. I wonder what would really shake things up here. I wonder if this next moment's going to be really sad. And then we just sit and wait and listen. For some of you, this is going to be a relief. You are not 100% in control of what you imagine and what comes through in your creativity. It's a waiting, it's a listening, it's a being open. And because of that, we can't control how much we write in a given moment, but we can control the amount of time that we dedicate to listening and seeing what comes up. And so if you're somebody who's been struggling to finish your stories, if that uncertainty's been weighing you down, what can you do? Well, 1, check the inner critic. 2, check whose voice you're repeating. Is it yours, of what you want, or what the critic wants you to think? Once you figure that out, once you've checked your language, all you have to do is sit down. Set a timer for 10, 15 minutes. Ask yourself the questions that you want. I wonder how the scene ends. And then wait. Sketch, doodle, write down whatever comes up. Eventually, you're going to imagine something. And when you do, congratulations, you just had a creative experience. Go right from there, and then rinse and repeat going forward. For a lot of writers, quick writing can be an excellent problem solver here. It can be an excellent solution to this issue. Quick writing simply involves setting a timer and letting yourself write everything that comes up, whether it's like self-talk, doubts, it doesn't matter. Your only job is to keep the pen moving. This isn't a technique that I invented, but I found that it's incredibly helpful for helping writers get past writer's block, generate new ideas, new scenes, and to move forward. And it's effective because it's 100% in your control. All you have to do is set that timer. I use 4 minutes, use whatever works for you, and move your pen. Sure enough, whenever I get writers to do this, new ideas flow. And that's because they can't edit. There's no time to edit. They can't overthink it. They can't sit there and tell themselves why it's no good. And there's no expectations around it because it's a quick rate. I mean, after all, it's just 4 minutes. But you wouldn't believe the gold that comes out of it. And so finding little tricks like this to remove those expectations, to get the inner critic out, is going to let that creativity really come through for you. For as long as writing matters to you, the inner critic's going to be showing up. Uncertainty is going to be showing up. And in all honesty, as you finish that first book, when you finally finish that first book, there's going to be all sorts of new uncertainties that you didn't even know were coming down the road. That happens in life for all of us. As we get to new places and new levels and try new things, new uncertainty shows up, which means that new inner critics show up. It just seems to be a part of this life. If you're somebody who's dedicated to writing and moving forward and you want a little support, I'd highly suggest you jump on my newsletter. It's completely free. The link's available below. Every week, I try and give a shift in mindset or technique to help writers not only learn how to write, but learn how to write through blocks like this. One of the most important steps we can take as writers is to stop dreaming about being that full-time writer and start being that full-time writer. And that can start today.